Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We haven't done this in a little bit. I'm looking 2 months since our last DLC bots video, and that's kind of insane that it's been 2 months now. We still don't have any new TFR news, but I thought, hey, let's go ahead and do a part 2 to this because I know some people have been asking, and I also think it's pretty fun to do, and definitely a series I would like to continue doing till we get to release date for Transformers Reactivate. So how it works is we have 4 characters here today, and we are working out the system of what we know from the leak. So offense, defense, and then support. And then also the same idea that each character has 3 abilities: their robot ability, their vehicle ability, and of course their ultimate ability. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started on these roster bots I got. So this roster is going to be themed around Rise of the Beast. Now, I'm not saying it has to be a movie tie-in or anything like that, but just have characters that are going to be out of the movie that could be in this game. And I think it'd be pretty cool if they did do some type of event with these characters. Again, not necessarily a movie tie-in event, but you know, just something that can reference these characters if they are ever in the game. So with these roster of characters, we have Arcee, Mirage, Nightbird, and Scourge. ROTB has an interesting roster, but I thought I'd pick these because most of these probably not be in the game except for one, really. And yeah, so I thought it'd be an interesting roster, and without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So the first character we will be doing is Arcee. Now, obviously, I'm gonna have Arcee listed as offensive character, damage dealer, and I think I have something really nice for her in her kit. For design wise, we are taking inspiration from her ROTB design because she actually has a really good design in ROTB, but of course have elements from Transformers Prime. So maybe like the little like spikes or whatever she has on her arms and her head, that would be pretty cool for that design. Plus the fact Arcee being blue and pink is pretty cool than just her being like pink or red. So that type of color scheme would also be pretty cool. With Arcee, she has, with her first ability being double blasters that snare the target for 5 seconds. This character is fully built on being able to ensnare targets and making them slow and stacking snare charges. So her double blasters will do X amount of damage and will snare the target for 5 seconds. 5 seconds might be a little bit too long, but I think it would be pretty cool for what we have for the other 2 abilities. And for her vehicle ability, it would be, you remember in the G1 movie that she has that little like molding little mace looking thing that's on her wheel? What we do with that, and if you hit the target, they will also be ensnared, and if they already have a snared from before with the double blasters, it stacks and will do bleed damage. Her ultimate would be a dead shot sort of ability. If you guys know from Transformers Forged to Fight, her final ability is she got the sniper and did a huge headshot and did a lot of crit damage and bleed damage. Now we're basically going with that same idea, but maybe not necessarily a sniper rifle, but her same blasters doing a dead shot type of ability and shooting it at the target, causing a crit headshot, leaving the target ensnared as well. And if it's stacked with her snares, does massive bleed damage. I think this kit for Arcee would be pretty interesting, and it's built around building those snare charges, dealing bleed damage. But I don't know, I can see the, you know, the complications with the first one, having the target ensnared for 5 seconds. Maybe you have the first ability have on a longer cooldown. I feel like with something like this, it would be pretty interesting for her to have. And again, design-wise, I think it would be perfect if you take inspiration from ROTB and TF Prime, as I think most people can agree that those are her best designs. Next up, we got Jazz. Wait, no, just kidding, Mirage. I'm sorry, I'm always going to do that joke. I actually don't care that, you know, with all the stuff, but Mirage. So Mirage design would be based off his G design, as I like him being an F1 car. Not to say I don't hate the, you know, Porsche design in the ROTB, but I just personally like him being the F1 car. So Mirage, his first ability would be able to put up 3 holograms. Now, I feel like this kit from Mirage could be really fun. I am taking inspiration from Apex Legends with Mirage. Transformers would be taking inspiration from Mirage from Apex, who puts up, you know, clones and bamboozles people. But I have a little bit of a different twist here. So when Mirage puts up 3 holograms, if a hologram gets shot, Mirage gets increased crit damage for a set amount of time. I'm thinking maybe like 2 seconds, nothing too crazy long, but not too short. So you can do some heavy hitting damage, and those would obviously stack. So if 3 holograms get hit, he'll have bonus crit damage for like 6 seconds. I think that'd be pretty interesting, especially if you're in like massive like crowd control areas with the Legion incoming stuff. You can just put up the holograms, you sit back with like a sniper build, do some pretty nice crit damage. I would like that. Vehicle ability would just be him being able to teleport from place to place. So he's in his car, he can teleport from point A to point B. That's pretty much it. Nothing real crazy. Not all these kits for characters got to have a crazy, you know, unique ability. But I think for Mirage, he can just teleport from point A to point B in vehicle mode. Kind of like a warp ability. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Now for his ultimate ability, I like what we have here. He will be able to teleport from place to place for 5 times. So he has 5 teleport charges. Basically in a big area, he has teleport charges. He can go from anywhere. And every time he does that and he's in this mode, he'll have increased defense and crit damage. I think this would be a pretty interesting thing for Mirage. I have him listed as a defensive character, but he honestly could play as defense or offense. Especially with this ultimate, I feel like you could play as him either way, and I think the ultimate would be pretty cool. You know, say like maybe for like 10 seconds he can teleport 5 times, and in those 10 seconds he has increased defense and increased crit damage, getting him out of nasty spots while boosting his damage and defense. So yeah, that's for Mirage. I feel like that's a pretty interesting kit. Next we have Nightbird. This character is very interesting. We can go both ways with the designs, but I guess a little bit of mix of, I guess, G1 and ROTB. I like her design in ROTB minus the head. The color scheme and all that is good, so we can roll with that, but please have the R33 look. Someone told me it's not, she's not an R34, she's an R33, so my bad. The R33 look in her alt mode, but with the, you know, the Mad Max type look with it. Oh my god, I want that so bad. Please, Flash Heavens or Bulkhead, if you are listening by any chance, please, 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 if you add Nightbird, make sure she has the R33 look. Oh my god. But with Nightbird, I have her listed as a healer slash support character. Not really too much in healing here, but definitely a support. Her basic ability mode would be able to hover for 7 seconds. And the reason why I went with this is because in the ROTB trailer, you can see her hovering around, like flying in the end scene. She's kind of hard to miss in the end scene of the trailer, but she is flying. So if we give her some type of hover ability for 7 seconds, that would be pretty cool. And if she has some type of healing weapon or whatever, it's like increased hovering speed, kind of like Mercy from Overwatch in a way, but not too heavily leaning on that. But, you know, you don't need the healing weapon. You know, you can go both ways with that ability because hovering is still hovering. I don't know how high you would be, but hovering for 7 seconds would be kind of useful. Kind of like Warlock in Destiny 2, because you can hover. For her actual vehicle mode, it would just be a simple bash in her vehicle mode. Maybe you put like some type of like, I don't know, some type of armor on her front bumper, and you just bash someone, you stun them for 1 second. Nothing too crazy, but just something like that to get her out of sticky situations. If say you are going with that healing route and the Legion, or if there is PvP, people are focused on you, you can quickly stun someone for a second and get out quickly. Her ultimate would be full-on flying mode for X amount of time. Her ultimate would be full-on flying, leaving a trail of defense ups for your squad. Kind of like Gundam Evolution, which I've been playing a lot lately. There is a Gundam called Turn A Gundam, who their ultimate is they kind of fly up in the air and glides in this area dealing damage, and it does a lot of damage. But maybe for Nightbird, instead of dealing damage, she brings defense up and health for everyone on her team in that area. So say, you know, you're kind of low on health and Nightbird pops her ult and she kind of just hovers up in the air flying from everyone in your squad, bringing defense up and health to your team, and you're just kind of getting that funnel of health over and over. It'd be pretty unique for Nightbird, although I could see her easily being an offensive character and, you know, having her be built towards, you know, maybe a bleed build, because I think if I recall correctly, she's been spotted with swords in her render for ROTB, so you could definitely go that route, but I wanted to see her as a support character. But with what we have here for this kit, you don't have to be a healing character, because you still get the, you know, the bash stun for a second, and you're still able to hover, and then you can still bring defense up to your team. So you're not necessarily a healer, but just a really good utility character if you wanted to go down that route. Next up, we have Scourge. Scourge, I would love to be a counter, if there's PvP, counter to fast bots like Sideswipe and Sunstreaker, who, and again, I'm assuming if Sideswipe's in the game, I don't know if he is or not, but Sunstreaker, what we've seen, you know, he's most likely in the game. Leaks, they seem, I'm assuming they're going to be like fast-paced characters, fast damage dealers, and Scourge would be the perfect counterpart for those characters. I know the name Scourge has different variations, like Scourge from RID 2001 and Scourge from G1. And there's probably another Scourge. I mean, I guess we can count ROTB Scourge, but he kind of leans towards RID 2001. But I would just love, honestly, if they just take inspiration from RID 2001 Scourge, because the Black Convoy look is just so freaking awesome. No, he is not Nemesis Prime. He is Scourge. So, yeah, I would love that. And give him the Mad Max aesthetic that TFR has, and he would look pretty freaking awesome, man. For abilities for Scourge, I'm taking inspiration from the ROTB trailer, and what we see in the first time we see Scourge, he kind of does this like electric pulse thing to Bumblebee, and I'm just going to roll with that idea and say Scourge can pull in one enemy and absolutely stuns them and leaves shock damage to that enemy. Kind of like what he did to B, because B kind of just went limp in the ROTB trailer, hashtag RIP Bumblebee. For Scourge's vehicle ability, I would like if he would be able to shoot cannons in his truck mode, dealing shock damage and armor down. Not necessarily armor break, but lowering their damage resistance. I think that would be pretty interesting. Maybe he doesn't have to do shock damage, but just lowering their damage resistance would be pretty interesting. And for Scourge's ultimate, I would really like it if they took inspiration from RID and again ROTB, and that crazy claw he has from what we've seen in the toy and the art. Give him that, but like it turns red to mimic his sword from ROD 2001 because he had like the red sword. So he has this big, huge like red claw that slashes an X like area certain amount, leaving armor down and other sorts of debuffs to those targets. I'm kind of thinking like in Elder Scrolls Online, the dual wielding ultimate ability where you kind of do in that X amount of area. So if you're caught in that, you will get a bunch of debuffs put on you. I think that would be pretty freaking interesting for Scourge to have an ultimate like that. Honestly, I think out of these 4 characters, one character I would really like to play a lot would be I'd probably like to play Mirage, just because of the teleportation ability, and I feel like you'd be a really good flex character where you can be high damage or you can sit in the back and be like a sniper build. Scourge would also be pretty interesting to play, but definitely leaning towards Mirage on my favorite of these 4. Now, honestly, like I mentioned in the beginning, if any of these 4 characters are ever going to be in TFR, in my honest opinion, it would probably be Arcee. And I think with Arcee's kit, it's probably more in line what I would guess if I was making Arcee, what she would be like, having like those snare charges and, you know, being able to do bleed damage, because in Forge the Fight, she did a lot of crit damage and bleed damage. So that's kind of where I took inspiration from. But yeah, this was TFR DLC Bots Part 2. I'd love to know you guys' thoughts. What would you guys like to see next? I would be open to any suggestions for characters. I know we haven't done Jazz yet. I definitely for sure want to do Jazz next. But yeah, as always, leave a comment down below if you guys like this or you have suggestions. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you guys like TFR content. And hopefully we get some more news soon. But I'll catch you guys next one. All right, take care.